Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to make a 1-year review of the JHS voice tech, the pedal I'm holding right here. And the thing is, if you don't know this, I do 1-year reviews of pedal because sometimes I feel like people get a pedal and they make a review. There's nothing wrong about that. But they don't really play around with the pedal and, find out its quirkiness or how to best use it. They have it for a week or something like that, and then they move on to the next thing, which is in some cases obvious because if you're making, 4 videos a week, you can't spend 2 months on a pedal and play around with it and try to figure everything out. But some pedals need that work. They need you to really focus in on them and really figure out how to use them before you can actually judge them. Now this pedal seems to have been some sort of failure. According to what I've seen online, what I've read on forums, and the sales I can see on the second-hand market, it seems to be one of those things that has gotten sort of lost and forgotten and that no one is really interested in. And people seems to not like it, and just like JHS is always helping other guitar brands and lifting them up. It was more than 2 weeks ago now, so it's quite a long while ago, but they helped lift the Bad Monkey, for example. A lot of people didn't think it was a good pedal, and they helped that pedal out to let it get the attention it deserves. And I want to do the same thing for them, because I feel like JHS, they're helping other brands a lot, but no one seems to really help them, and I think that they took a plumage on these pedals and probably even lost a lot of money, and I feel like they deserve better than that. So I'm here today to tell you why this is an amazing pedal and why you should get one of them. They're super inexpensive, and since this is a very small channel, I doubt that I will be able to raise the price of them like JHS does. But anyway, it is actually really, really good and amazing. But there are a couple of things that you're gonna have to change about how you play guitar, because there are things you have to think about when it comes to this. And if you're gonna play the guitar the way I'm gonna show you, which is how this shines, then you're gonna have to change things up. Retro made a video when he talked about this, and he was fairly on spot about it, but he did miss a lot of things that I feel are very important to talk about. Now, the first thing is the controls. He's right about these controls. They're not really that important. I would say you put them at 12 o'clock and then you adjust them and fine-tune them a little bit. And this is where it gets kind of hard, because you can't fine-tune them a lot. They have to be at basically 12 o'clock. If you look at my pedal here, you can see that the controls are almost at 12 o'clock, all of them. The format is basically your ooh kind of thing, and it has to be somewhere in the middle because you need to, with your guitar, play the and ooh, and I'm going to show you how to do that, so don't worry. And the same thing with the vibrato. Every voice, whenever they do anything, have a little bit of vibrato in them. It's just the way our voices works. We're humans. So by putting it almost in the middle, give or take a tiny bit of amount, you'll get something natural, but you want it to be enough so that you can work with it, and not so little that it becomes hollow and dead. It will make sense when you play with it yourself, but you have to keep it at basically the middle. And the same thing with the drive. This is not a pedal. You don't want some weird sort of distortion thing happening. So by putting it at the 12, and I know it's not a distortion control, but for the sake of it, and making this simple, it's basically like the mic breaking. You can't really have that going in this. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. The upper one here lets you select if you want the pedal to be mimicking the voice of a man, a woman, or if you want the chorus. And the thing is, you can play single notes as a man and a woman, and then chords as a group or a choir, basically. But for what we're doing and for where this pedal shines, you can only select the two first ones, the woman and the man, because the chorus thing will not work with what I'm going to show you. It will mess up your signal and things will start to break apart and sound really nasty. Almost like when a vinyl scratches or something like that, it's going to be really messy. I'm not going to demo that and show you that because it's, not pleasant. And that's because when you sing, you don't have more than one voice basically, and your guitar doesn't have more than one voice either. Yes, you can play chords on your guitar, but that's basically like every string is a voice, and you have to think. It's a very odd way of thinking, but you have to do it. If you want a choir, you're gonna have to get more than one of these. Which is not that bad actually, because if you look at the secondhand market, they are going for crazy cheap. So you could actually buy like 5 of these and have one of those boxes that I've showed you how to make that lets you split your guitar signal into different amps and just go into a lot of different ones of these and just fine tune all of them, and you're golden. Which is another reason why this is kind of sad. The jack on the side here, you don't need this one. This is not a guitar pedal. You actually don't even need this switch, because the way this will work, the switch here is basically useless. This is for making your guitar into a voice, and you're gonna have to change the way you play and do things so much that you basically, this is more of an out box of some sort. It's not a pedal. And that's, I think, the reason why it's confusing, because it's so much a guitar pedal in the way that it looks that it's confusing. But you only need this jack. You should only ever use this jack. You don't need this little switch. I'm messing around with all these things. You just need this jack, because you're going to go out into a PA system of some sort or into a audio interface. You're not going to go to a guitar amp. You're never going to use this to go to a guitar amp. And it's because it's just horrible sounding, and it will mess with your signal, and it will totally make everything sound really cheap, dirty, and bad. It's the same reason why you don't use your guitar amp when you're singing. Like, no one does that. You're never at a gig and like the guitarist comes in with his amp and the bassist comes in carrying his amp and the singer comes in carrying another guitar amp. No, the microphone is attached to the PA system, and this has to be dealt with the same way. The volume control is for basically blending yourself in with the volume of everyone else you're playing with, and especially if you have another singer, because it will be very weird if you're making a back vocal track, which is basically where this pedal shines, and you're louder. The backup singer is never louder than the actual singer, at least not in terms of mixing. Obviously you could have backup singers singing louder, but you usually don't have them volume wise going over. The next thing that I feel like Rachel should have talked to you about a lot, and that he should have really focused on, basically because it's maybe the most important thing, but he didn't even mention it. It's this tiny little jack on the other side. He did tell you about these things, but he never really told you about this one right here. And it's a tiny little USB interface that you can plug up to your computer, and it installs itself on your computer and gives you loads of controls to adjust and fine-tune the characters of the voice. So if you, for example, want to change the male voice and get a really raspy sort of Tom Waits sort of voice where it's like, oh, I've been drinking whiskey and smoking for 50 years, you can actually make that voice that way. And it's not perfect, and it takes a lot of time to dial in something that is really, really close, but it's doable. And depending on how much time you want to spend on it and how nerdy and geeky you are, you can really mold basically like the voice the way you want. And you could also actually share presets with other people. The bad part here obviously is that there aren't that many presets. I've been looking around to see if anyone's doing presets, and everyone is just saying things like, well, why do you buy that? It's garbage. Which it's not. It definitely isn't. And I hope that I'm going to be able later, when I show you the sound demo, to basically make you want to buy this, because It really deserves it, and I feel like someone should stick up for this pedal and for JHS and just say that, hey, this is a really good pedal. Okay, so why didn't this pedal do, a good job? Why was this a failure? You listen to the way it affects your guitar sound and you go, ooh, I definitely need this, but then it doesn't sell. It's kind of weird. And I have a conspiracy actually of why this didn't work. But I don't know. I kind of feel like it's a bad idea to maybe talk about it, or at least like out in the open where someone can, hear us. So let's go somewhere quiet where no one can hear us. Okay. Okay, so listen here. I know this is gonna be like super weird, and I understand that some of you're not gonna believe this, and you're gonna think that I'm crazy about it, telling you this. But like, it's super strange to me. If you add up all the signs and you follow the leads, and I'm not saying that this is like a conspiracy theory or anything like that, but it's so odd to me. So I just have to say this, and it's really weird. But basically, I think that Red Scholl did them dirty. I know it sounds crazy to say, but that's what I think happened. I think he has such big influence. I mean, maybe this even goes like, to the Pentagon or the Illuminati or something like that. I don't know. It's crazy. I know it sounds crazy. But listen, he didn't really do that favorable of a review. Like, it wasn't, a super kind, like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, and just like, hey, listen, this is something that is crazy. This is taking your guitar pedal and making it into a singer. And I'm pretty sure he knew that you could do amazing things with this pedal, and he just didn't want anyone to know. He just didn't want anyone to know. And I think I figured this out. If you look at a bunch of JHS pedal videos, there are these weird little comments about his slide playing, and it's just like obvious that, Josh has a better tone and that his slide playing is way beyond what Red Scholl could ever create, and it's just kind of crazy when you think about it. But honestly, I think that's it. He is so angry, and he's not letting anyone know, but he's so angry about his slide playing and the fact that he's like really bad at it, and he's just doing this crazy thing, and no one is saying anything to him, and no one is letting it's crazy, it's weird. So I just think that he basically slammed this pedal because he knew this was amazing new technology, and that JHS would become like $1 billion company that would be the biggest pedal builders in like the world. They would be bigger than Boss, and they would just be the greatest ever, because this is an amazing thing. Okay, I mean, like, it's super weird, honestly. It's really, really strange. This is the greatest invention in music history, and no one is talking about it. Like, honestly, it's really weird. Like, think about it. This pedal can make anyone into a world famous singer. It's so crazy. You have to understand that. It's so weird. Like, honestly, like, it's the weirdest thing ever. Like, think about any of the world's most famous singers ever. You could be one of them with your guitar, and the worst part is, because later I'm going to show you how you need to play guitar, and it's not a skill thing. It's not like you have to be Eddie Van Halen and shred like a crazy person, with like mad skill. You don't need that at all. You just have to understand the basic of how a singer does it, what he or she does. You don't have to like have any like technical skill in it. You just have to understand it. I'm going to show you, okay? And you're going to understand why this is so crazy. But I think I actually know why. I think I know why. And I think it's just the fact that his slide playing isn't good enough. And this whole thing is coming down to that. So let's get back to it. And don't talk to anyone about this. Don't let Red Scholl know about this, because I'm on to him. And we need to stop him before he totally takes over JHS and runs the company on the ground. I don't know what he is up to, but it's no good thing. And he's pretending to be his friend, but I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Okay, so what works and what doesn't work? How do you make this pedal into something that is actually magical? It's actually pretty easy, but first I just want to explain something really easy. This pedal here has a lot in common with how a fuzz works, and it might sound confusing, but hear me out. It's actually pretty simple. A fuzz needs to go first because of how the circuit works. Putting anything else in front will sort of mess it up and things will go crazy and you'll get a nasty sound. The basic rule is fuzz first, then whatever else you want to use. This is exactly the same, except opposite. This needs to be the last thing that you put in your circuit or pedal board or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to call it a pedal board because that gets us back into the mindset of this being something that has to do with guitar, and you have to get out of guitar playing thinking mode. So basically whatever you do, you have to put this one last. So, you know, whatever pedal you're using goes into this and then the signal out to the PA system, nothing else. Okay, good. If you don't and you do something else, you are gonna get weird things that happens. I'm gonna play guitar now for you and you're gonna hear what happens when I have my guitar go into this and then go into my flanger. And this is what's gonna happen. It's gonna sound like kind of almost like a scream. It's gonna be super weird and it's gonna be super loud. That's one of the things. Like, I rolled down the volume on my amp to almost nothing. I rolled the controls on my flanger and on the voice tech down to almost nothing, and it's still so loud that I had to wear ear protection. And I'm pretty sure I kind of damaged my amp as well, and that's what I mean. Things get weird and unpredictable and crazy when you don't have this as the last thing. And that's another thing that Red Scholl didn't talk about in his video, and really, really important that this thing goes lost on your pedal board. And I really mean lost. Like, you can't even actually have a split box behind this. You know? Like, this is the last thing before the PA system. If you want to split this into different channels, you're gonna have a box that splits this into multiple of these. You can't have this split into multiple channels. Okay, so what works? Well, these are the two things that you have to have in order to make this into something really amazing. And the first thing is you need a wah pedal. I'm gonna be using this one because it's the only one I have, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't really matter. Obviously, you have to experiment on your own and find out what works best for you. The second thing you need is a Strat, or something very similar. And what you need is the whammy. It's actually super important. And I'm going to show you why pretty soon. But you need a Strat and you need it to be with a whammy. If it's a hardtail Strat, it won't work. And if you look at the video where Red Scholl, he's playing a guitar that is some sort of Telecaster or close to it, at least. And it's not the right guitar. And it's kind of weird to have to say this, but you have to have the right guitar. Okay, so just once more, because this is really going to be hard for me to explain. This is not a guitar pedal. It might seem like a guitar pedal because it has these like inputs and it has a true bypass switch, but ignore that. That's not true. And the way you play guitar is you're trying to find a way to make it sound like you're doing words, basically. And that's a part of like how you shape your mouth and your tongue. And so basically that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna use the whammy as almost like your tongue, and this is where it gets kind of crazy and confusing, because you basically have to relearn guitar, and you're gonna use the whammy almost like how you shape your mouth, you know, like when you say ooh or when you say ah, or you know. Okay, so as you can see, cable goes into the pedal here. There's my whammy goes here into this, and then I have XLR cable plugged into the camera, and I have my guitar right here that you can see, and I'm basically just playing one note, and I'm using my whammy bar to reshape that note so it goes up and down. And it doesn't really matter if your guitar is perfectly tuned. Actually, I would say that having it a little bit out of tune is probably a good idea. And then you have the pedal. And this is basically how you're going to play the guitar. So you just have to like figure out how the shape of the mouth and tongue would work with this and move it that way. So, and the note is just what note is the singer taking. So it's like, you know? And now I'm gonna start the voice tech pedal, and hopefully you're gonna see that I'm able to actually make this pedal sing words. That's where this is amazing. This is what I mean with making this pedal shine. It's not just a pedal that goes ooh ah, it's actually something really amazing and crazy. So I'm pressing this, and now I'm gonna play for you just a simple little line, you know, like I love you basically, and you're gonna hear that it's actually pretty amazing.
I love you. I love you.
So, in conclusion, I think you should really try this pedal out. It is an amazing pedal, and it goes for cheap on the used market if you can find one. They're becoming a little bit rare because they're, you know, no one wants them. So yeah, talk to me in the comments below. Let me know what you think. And, you know, have you tried the pedal? What have you achieved with it? Do you have songs maybe with the singer being this pedal? And if you are new to this, try out my ideas about like focusing in the playing on your guitar with this, you know, and see what happens. And yeah, you might notice that that all my guitars they're gone. It's you know, the Illuminati. I mean, Rhett Shaw. All I said about him, you know, that's not true. It's just, you know, he's an awesome guy. He's really kind and sweet, and he would never, you know, clock a stranger in the eye and take their guitars. I mean, he only borrowed them. There's, you know, yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and check the pedal out and subscribe to Rhett Shaw, and yeah, just be all awesome and cool and do kind things to people, and you know, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. If you're not subscribed, please click the subscribe button for more fun videos. And I'm gonna go now and record a little bit of me playing acoustic guitars, because it's the only guitar I have left. I mean, it's my favorite guitar. And yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of singing, but my throat is a little bit sore now from all the fighting. I mean, from all the coffee I've been drinking all day. And yeah, so I'm just gonna play a little bit of guitar and sing a little bit, and I'm gonna put a backing track of this pedal basically. Yeah, and it's gonna basically be a backup singer. It's gonna sound like a woman helping me out, and hopefully by, you know, mixing things together, it will seem like it's a human, but it's a pedal. So yeah, try to just, I don't know, close your eyes and listen and see if it's, believable. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye! Ah!
Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, and everything that you do. Yeah, they were all